All right, everyone, so let's get into it. Today we are going to learn how to read a patent. So the patent that I have for you right now is 8965465. You see that in the upper right-hand corner. That is the patent number. And the date of the patent, this is actually the date the patent issued. So here you see February 24th, 2015. This is the issue date, and this will become important when you are trying to look at damages. So there's a certain amount of time for which someone can bring a patent infringement suit, and then the damages that go with that. And damages are, they go back 6 years prior to filing the complaint. So if today we're in 2026 and 6 years ago would have been 2019, so this patent hadn't even issued yet. So the issue date is going to be important, again, when we're talking about your damages window. So we'll just keep that in mind, and as I go through here, I'll try to explain, what you're seeing and why it's important. So if we hop over here, we see this is Spoto et al., and that's because the lead inventor here is J. Robert Spoto. So people invent things. Corporations don't invent things. AI doesn't invent things. So we see these are all human people in the inventor section. The applicant, though, looks like a corporation, and the assignee looks like a corporation. So we see it's assigned to BlackBerry. Now this is the assignment at the time. If you want to find the current assignment, you're going to want to go on the USPTO website, and there is a section where you can find the assignment history, and likely it'll show assignment from the inventors to this assignee, but then BlackBerry could have assigned this to someone else. And assignments or patents are property, and you can assign your property, you can license your property. So even though the face of the patent lists BlackBerry as the assignee, you should always check the USPTO website and the assignment history to see who the current assignee is. If you come down here to notice, you'll see that this patent has been extended under 35 USC 154B by 11 days. So what does this mean? So patents are a exclusive right to practice the patent is 20 years from the filing date. So in the upper right, we talked about the date of issue, but the filing date is down here, March 5th, 2013. So the entity applying for the patent, once it issues and is granted, they receive that exclusivity for a period of 20 years. That 20 years starts from the filing date, and then this notice section tells you how much extra, typically it's extra, although it can be subtraction, how much extra to add on to the patent. And that will give you your anticipated expiration date. So there are several caveats here in terms of 20 years, plus or minus whatever date is in the notice section. So the first caveat is that this is the filing date. However, many patents have priority, or they take priority to things that are older, or to patents that are older. So we see here, this is a continuation of a patent. This is a patent number, you see this format, that was filed on November 10th, 2010. So even though the filing date is 2013, this patent claims priority to a patent that was filed in 2010. So probably the earliest priority date, based on just this information that I have here, is a 2010 priority date. So if I were to try to figure out how long the patent lasts, I would be going from November 10th, 2010, and then I would add 20 years plus 11 days. So you see how that works? So even though it was filed in 2013, you would think the 20 years starts from there. This particular patent claims priority to a patent filed in November of 2010. So really that's where the 20 years starts from the earliest filing date. And then again, you look up here and you figure out what your adjustments are. And I can do a whole other video on this, but I just wanted to give you a flavor. Okay, so if we move over to the abstract, you probably can surmise what an abstract is. It is giving you a high level of what this patent is about. This is talking about a portable electronic device, having a rear housing. So, and then it has an image. This looks like a BlackBerry phone to me. So this looks like it is describing a device. This is a utility patent as opposed to a design patent or a plant patent. And so this is explaining what the device is. And then we see here that it has 20 claims. So the claims are going to be how the patent is limited, and we'll talk about that. The claims are always located at the very end of the patent. So if you just flip the patent to the back, you will see what is claimed. And the claims again are, how is the patent limited? Because the more limited and specific you are, the more likely you are to receive your patent, because you're limiting it to something very tangible versus something very big or large, that doesn't have many meets and bounds. That makes it harder to receive a patent. And the second page is explaining a little bit more in terms of the references cited and what the examiner looked at when they were looking at this patent. So here we have the figures. I am not going to look at each figure in detail, but I will just give you a high level. Each figure has an annotation for the number that the figure is, and every single component, you see all of these numbers, every single component has a number, and it will be explained in the patent. So you see the main processor is 102, network 150, communication subsystem 104. As we go through, and if you're trying to figure out what is the inventor talking about, these numbers correspond to the components, and the inventors will explain what each of these mean. See figures 2 and 3 on this screen. Again, every component has a set of numbers. All of the components have their own number so that you can understand what is being shown, what is being described, what is being invented. $14, $15, I think 15 is the last figure. Okay, so if you come down to this section after the figures, you'll start seeing this is the specification. This indicates the detail in words as opposed to pictures. It's a description of what the patent is. And there are specific sections here. So the related applications, we saw that up at the top where the inventor was explaining what is this patent related to? Is there another patent that it claims priority to? The field of invention, again, it's a high level. What field is this? Electronic devices? Are we talking about Wi-Fi, LED? What is the actual field of invention? Then this will give you an introduction. So if you're trying to get grounded, you read the abstract, read the introduction, and then the description of the drawings. There were 15 figures. The patent goes into detail around what is figure 1 showing, what is figure 2 showing, and so on and so forth. And then the detailed description walks through each of the figures. So the brief description of the drawings is just that. It's a brief, 1 or 2 lines. And then the detailed description goes into detail about what is figure 1 showing, what is figure 2 showing, and so on and so forth. And as you see, I'm just scrolling through. You see all of those numbers that we looked at before, 230, 234, 150. Again, those were all of the components that were described. On this next screen, let me just tell you how, if you're going to cite a patent, this is how you would cite it. So if you're going to cite the abstract, that would be something different since that's on the first page. But in the patent, you see these numbers in the columns. See, this is column 7, column 8. And if we scroll back up, you see here that this was column 5 and column 6. So when you're going to cite a patent, let's say that there's something in here that you want to draw someone's attention to. So you're going to cite, let's say you want to cite this right here where it says in some embodiments, at least some of the resonator and the shield elements. Let's say that you want to use some of that text. You're going to say 7 colon, and then you're going to come down here. And so each of these is numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this 5 helps you there to know that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's what we're looking at here. So if I want to use in some embodiments, I'm going to say 7 colon, and then I'm going to say 6. So in some embodiments starts at line 6. And if I want to do this whole paragraph, I will go to, this looks like 10 here, so I would go to 11. So that would be 7 colon 6 through 11. And that's how you would cite in the patent what you are referring to. And this is the last page, so we have arrived at the claims. So again, the claims are like the meat and bounds of the patent. What is claimed? Because you can't have an unlimited number of things that you're claiming. You have to limit what you are claiming to the actual invention. So here we see that the invention claimed is colon. It's always going to say that, and that lets you know that we are now in the claims. So the first one is a portable electronic device comprising colon, a first housing, and it goes into each of these. You might see this referred to as the preamble, where it says a portable electronic device comprising first housing. You might hear that called the preamble. And then where it says a second housing coupled, that may be 1A. Or sorry, a first housing, that would be your 1A. So the preamble is a portable electronics device comprising. A first housing would be 1A. A second housing would be 1B, and so on and so forth. And for this one, this particular one, you would see preamble and then 1A, B, C, D, and E. That's how you would be describing what claim 1 either says, or if there's an allegation, or if you're mapping this, or if someone else is mapping their device to your their invention to your device, they would be stepping through what's called a claim chart that sets out each of these specific claims and the subclaims in that sort of logical manner. Preamble, and then the components 1A, B, C, D, and so forth. This first claim is an independent claim because it doesn't depend on anything else the way that claim 2 depends. You see a portable device, a portable electronic device of claim 1. What that is saying is that it is a dependent claim of claim 1. So claim 1 is independent because it's not referencing anything else, but claim 2 is a dependent claim, and it's dependent on claim 1. Same thing here, a portable electronic device of claim 2. Claim 3 is a dependent claim of claim 2, and so on and so forth. So when you're looking at patents, you want to understand, well, how many independent claims are there? How many dependent claims? Which claims are dependent on which other claims? And so you can see all the way into column 8 that your claims continue. And claim 20, if we scroll down, that is our last claim here. Portable electronic device comprising, again, that's the preamble of claim 20. And then you've got your 20A, B, C, D, E. Okay? And that is essentially how to read a patent at a very, very high level. If you have any questions, let me know. There's a lot more detail to get into, but I just wanted to give you all a first pass. So thank you for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.